Good Thursday afternoon. Thanks so much for watching THV 11 News at Noon. I'm Michael Aaron here with meteorologist Nathan Scott. It is already in the 60s out there this afternoon. Almost warm. I would say it definitely is warm for this time of year.
Yeah.
And Nathan, we've been saying it all week. Change is on the way. Some of us could be seeing, we won't say the S word, snow. I said it. Snow.
You said it. Difficult to believe that we're talking about the potential of winter weather when we've got temperatures already flirting with 70 in Little Rock and Hot Springs. These numbers, I think, will go close to 70 this afternoon. But check out this. We've gone from possible to likely now when we're talking about snow impacts. Not everybody in the THV 11 viewing area will see snow impacts, but I think a large part of Arkansas will likely see some winter weather. Here's the latest update. The model information still coming into pretty good agreement that going throughout the day on Saturday, rain will change over to snow from north to south, but especially Saturday night. That's going to be the best time here in central Arkansas, and the best chance of accumulation will be for North Arkansas, but especially the mountains where there's a potential of, I think, significant snowfall. I'm going to have the first call snowfall forecast map coming up a little bit later. We'll time things out for you, and we'll let you know who could see snow-covered roads. All that is coming up a little bit later.
All right, Nathan, we'll see you in a few. Meanwhile, we are following developing news this afternoon along the Arkansas River. The search for a missing Maumelle woman who disappeared while paddleboarding continues right now. THV 11's Ian Russell is live along the river with more on the search efforts. Ian.
Hey, Michael. Yeah, we're here across the river from the staging area at Park on the River. We're over on this side to try and get a better look at the river itself and what investigators are doing. And we're told that park, though, is where the search is starting for Ashley Haynes. She's a woman who disappeared from Maumelle. Let's give some context, though, as to where that park actually is and show you what this looks like. Now, that's Park on the River. It's right off Crystal Hill Road in Maumelle. Again, we're told this is where the search started. Now, we're still working to get more information about what happened, but there was some information that Maumelle police was able to share with us. Family members of Haynes reported her missing at about 6 p.m. last night, and she was last seen leaving the Maumelle side of the river on a paddleboard. Now, the search for Haynes now has multiple local and state agencies involved, including Arkansas State Police. They had a helicopter up in the air earlier, but it sounds like that might actually be gone now. We haven't heard that in a little bit now. We're also told that North Little Rock Police have drones they're using to assist in the search. And another thing officers have asked us and told us when we were out there is to give them plenty of room. Try not to get in the water and to get in their way. Give them the room they need to search for this. And obviously, Michael, a lot more out here and a lot more to keep you updated on. We'll make sure to bring you the latest coming up on THV 11 News at 5 and 6. For now, though, let's send it back to you.
And thank you. We'll see you tonight. We're also working to learn more about a deadly shooting in Jonesboro involving an FBI agent. Here's what we know. According to the spokesperson, or a spokesperson with the agency, one person is dead and no agents are hurt. He tells us a shooting incident review team will look into the use of deadly force. We'll keep you updated on THV 11 and thv-at-noon.com as more information becomes available. Little Rock Police Chief Keith Humphrey is back on the job today. That comes after he fired his gun at a suspect during an incident on New Year's Eve. Mayor Frank Scott Jr. says the chief has been cleared by a, quote, administrative assessment of his capacity to return to active duty, end quote. According to the department, Chief Humphrey fired his gun at someone after a fight escalated into a shooting at a gas station. His administrative leave period is over, yes, but there are still 2 open investigations into his use of force, one by Arkansas State Police and one by the LRPD Internal Affairs. We saw another record number of new COVID-19 cases yesterday. That comes as the Omicron variant spreads through Arkansas at a rapid pace. We're still waiting on today's numbers, so we'll give you the latest ones again. Those were reported yesterday. Almost 11,000 infections reported. That is now the biggest one-day jump that we have ever seen throughout this pandemic. It's the 5th time in 2 weeks we've reported record high increases too. Our active cases and hospitalizations continue climbing as well. Right now, more than 71,000 Arkansans are dealing with COVID-19. More than 1,100 are fighting it from a hospital. Meanwhile, Governor Asa Hutchinson says Arkansas has received its 2nd shipment of at-home tests and is working to deliver to pickup locations around the state. A big topic as this variant spreads. Kids. While they may not be getting as sick, it is still impacting them. Right now, there are more kids at Arkansas Children's Hospital because of the surge in cases. Ian Russell sat down with pediatricians to learn how the variant could affect kids, especially ones who are unvaccinated.
But I know we're all tired. tired. As a parent, I'm tired. As a person, I'm tired. As a pediatrician, I'm tired.
As Omicron continues to surge, pediatricians like Dr. Jessica Snowden are seeing the impacts firsthand.
The reassuring thing that we are seeing so far is that in general, kids seem to be less sick than they were the Delta variant. But there are still a lot of them just because there is so much COVID right now.
After Governor Asa Hutchinson's press briefing Tuesday, we asked Dr. Jose Romero, Arkansas's Secretary of Health, what he thought about where the state is when it comes to kids and vaccines.
When we only have 10% of our population of children 5 to 11 that have received a full vaccination, that is concerning. They are at risk for potential complications of this virus.
One of those complications is something called MIS-C, or multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children. It's when different parts of the body could become inflamed in kids because of COVID.
It is a decrease in individuals, in children, adolescents that have received the vaccine. So again, it protects against those complications.
Another topic brought up by Dr. Romero is the possibility of unvaccinated children getting diabetes after having COVID. I asked Dr. Snowden if she'd heard the same. She said it wasn't a guarantee, but it's certainly possible.
One of the things that we know happens with diabetes in kids is that frequently it is an infection that tips you over from you're somebody at risk of having diabetes to having diabetes. And so COVID may be one of those infections that has that ability.
While that may be something that they're still figuring out, Dr. Snowden says there's one thing they know for sure. The best way to keep kids healthy and at school is to go back to the basics.
So if you're wearing a mask and if you're vaccinated, you're less likely to have to leave school when COVID shows up in your classroom. So the best way for all of us as parents to keep our kids where they're developing best is by going ahead and doing those things.
In Little Rock, Ian Russell, THV11 News.
Dr. Snowden says the silver lining here is that the kids who get the Omicron variant are less sick. Still, she says it's important for parents to get their kids vaccinated to stop them from being sick at all. President Biden is calling in the military to help with the surge of new COVID cases brought on by this variant. The administration is announcing new deployments of additional military personnel to overwhelmed hospitals in New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Rhode Island, Michigan, and New Mexico. The president also said the White House will announce a new plan next week to distribute high-quality masks, as he calls them, to Americans for free, and touched on plans to ship 500 million rapid tests out.
We're on track to roll out a website next week where you can order free tests shipped to your home.
The president also announced he wants to purchase an additional 500 million tests to meet future demand. Meanwhile, some states, especially in the Northeast, are reporting they're starting to see a decline in new cases, meaning they may have hit the peak of the latest Omicron spike. And listen to this. Florida scientists have found more evidence face masks help reduce the spread of airborne diseases like COVID. In a study in the Journal of Infectious Diseases, they found face masks cut the distance airborne pathogens can travel in half. And they say 3 feet of distance with a mask is better than 6 feet unmasked. In other news this afternoon, a family of 5 is without their home after a fire destroyed it last week. They have been staying in a hotel trying to figure out how to move forward. Now THV11's Jade Jackson explains how they're focused on the future and how you can help.
The Lott family has been living inside this home for 17 years. That's a lot of memories to make for a family of 5. And now they're back here, trying to salvage what they can, picking up the pieces of what's left. Flames and smoke.
This is my house, it is gone, I cannot believe this.
Is what Alicia Lott and her husband were met with last Wednesday night. They went out to grab dinner for their 2 youngest daughters, Brooklyn 12 and Asaya 7.
The neighbors contacted us on the way to get the food, but from what my daughter said, the Christmas tree was blazed and they ran out of the house and went to the neighbor's house.
This is what the home looks like today. A sign outside it declaring it unsafe and to keep out. But it's hard to stay away from a place you once called home.
Right here, this is my dress. Just my dress. Ruined. Ew, my dress.
7-year-old Asaya digs through her old bedroom.
I feel like it just catched on fire, which it caused 90 damage, but now it went up to 100.
She and her big sister, Asia, stopped by to see if they could find anything salvageable.
So many memories. Got sent off to prom over here. There's just so much that's gone now.
And even though it's mostly charred rubble and debris, they luckily were able to recover old family photographs. And with neighbors, friends, and family willing to help them start over, they're just happy the 2 youngest girls are safe.
That was the main thing, you know. We can come back from material things, but as long as everybody is safe.
In Little Rock, Jade Jackson, THV11 News.
If you want to help the family, they have a GoFundMe set up, and we have a link to that right now on thv-at-noon.com. Bare shelves are starting to become a problem again. And it's not the snow. Why even the most basic items are no longer immune to supply chain issues, coming up at 12:17. Nathan.
And it feels like spring out there this afternoon, but don't be fooled because significant weather changes will be taking place this weekend, and winter weather will affect a large part of central Arkansas. I'll have more on those details next.